Okay, everybody's coming back. I already warned my group that Annika gets to introduce Yubin today. Are you guys all back? Annika and Yubin?
Yeah, I'm here.
And it's interesting because you're going to talk and we're going to look at you, even though you're introducing Yubin. So I don't, unless Yubin just hums the whole time so the camera stays on her, I don't know how we're going to do this. Here she comes. Here's Yubin anyway. Okay, Annika, introduce us to Yubin.
Okay, so Yubin, her birthday is June 17th. She's part of the Biomedical Engineering Lab with Professor Chen. She goes to South Pasadena High School, and her favorite food is basically just like all Korean food.
All right, happy birthday, Yubin. Okay, who's next? Kendall, who in your group is going to introduce somebody?
Okay, so it kind of got cut off before, but
Uh-oh.
I had a screenshot of the birthdays because they were literally all back to back to back. So Jacob's birthday was July 14th, and then Jesse's birthday was July 15th, and then Ella's birthday was July 17th, and then Maddie's birthday was July 20th.
That's a lot of birthdays we're going to have here in Shine.
Yeah, so that's how far we got. And we were kind of just sitting there surprised by what happened.
By getting pulled out of the Zoom room?
By seeing all the July birthdays and then
Yeah.
getting pulled out of the Zoom room, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Um, okay, Jacob, I remember your name. Introduce yourself.
Oh, so I'm Jacob. So I go to Diamond Bar High School. Like I said, I am a rising senior, and I'm part of the robotics sub-cohort. And my partner is Annika, and my mentor is Tom.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, let's see. Marcus, from your group, is there somebody who's going to designated to introduce? Nope. Anybody from Marcus's group? You guys lost?
I don't think Marcus is in the call.
Is Marcus's group back?
I was in Marcus's Slack is that he had an orientation thing, I believe, for maybe college or something.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't going to attend.
Lily, can you introduce us to somebody in your group or to yourself?
Okay, sure. We got a little bit cut off, but we still did like some small introductions. Okay, I can introduce myself and then I can introduce, I guess, any of the other four people. But I'm Lily. I'm going to be a senior in the fall at Harvard Westlake. And then when we introduced ourselves, we also talked about our favorite marshmallow and Lucky Charms. And many of the members of our group didn't eat Lucky Charms, but I do eat them on rare occasions, and my favorite marshmallow is the rainbow. Yeah.
All right. Can you introduce us to one person?
Sure. I'll introduce you to Hannah just because I see her right here on my screen. Hannah is also a rising senior at Hamilton High School, and she was one of the people who doesn't eat Lucky Charms.
And Hannah, what kind of lab are you in? I know, but you tell us.
I'm in Professor McCain's biomedical lab.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Let's see, Paula, is there somebody in your group who can do an introduction?
Oh, I can.
Thank you. Hey, Ethan.
So Brenda is from the Bay Area, and her birthday is on December 12th, which is the same as mine. And she's a rising junior. And her professor is Professor Azanian?
Ayanian.
Anyan.
Ayanian, yeah. Aerospace, robotics. She's drones.
Ethan is a rising junior, and he's in the biomedical lab, and his birthday's on the same day as mine, December 12th. So.
All right. We'll find out if you guys have a lot in common. Sarah, anybody in your group that can introduce each other or one person?
I think William was going to do the introduction, right?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Okay, so person I'm going to introduce is Rachel. She's a rising senior at Arcadia High School. She's in Professor Nuzzo's electrical engineering lab, and during quarantine, she's been baking.
She's been what?
Baking.
Ah, she and Sarah have a lot in common. Speaking of that, you know, Sarah has very generously offered to bake for all the birthday people and to mail brownies or cookies to the birthday people. We're going to follow up on that. Yubin, we got to talk to you later. Yubin's having seaweed soup for dinner. It was just a traditional birthday thing in her family. But yeah, we like people who bake and people who are generous.
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
if I were to do that, the things I'd need to know is if anyone has, I wouldn't use nuts just because that's too common of an allergen. But if anyone has any allergic stuff, I mean, if they're shipped, I would, like, they would be quarantined basically for 2 days, so that's okay. My mom's an epidemiologist, like, I'm conscious of that kind of stuff. But, or if any of you guys didn't want baked goods, I could just not send them to you. And then, like, for mailing reasons, I'll try to send them to you around your birthday, but, like, I can't really guarantee what day they'd come. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll continue this conversation on Slack, okay? Yeah, awesome. Kathalina, somebody from your group can introduce themselves? Oh, there's Anthony's sister. Hi.
It was Jason was going to introduce Darwin.
Okay.
So Darwin's a rising senior at Denver High School, and we shared the same birthday on January 16th. He is in the electrical engineering field.
Great, thank you. Jason, what field are you in? Who's your PI?
I'm under Professor Chun in the biomedical engineering field.
Okay, great. Thanks, you guys. Did I get everybody?
You didn't get our group.
Oh, Erica. How about your group?
So Atalia is going to introduce Maricela.
Great.
Cool. So Maricela is a rising senior at Linda Marquez High School, and her birthday's in July 21st, I think. And so she's in one of the chemical engineering labs. Did I miss anything? I think that was
great. Okay, and Atalia, where are you? Whose lab are you in? What field?
Oh, I'm in materials lab with Professor Ravichandran, and like my partner's Manasi. Yeah.
Great, good. Okay, Anthony, can you unmute and introduce? Can you have your sister introduce herself?
She doesn't really speak.
Okay, well you introduce.
She's having fun with the camera though.
Ah, what's her name?
Itzayena. That's what we named her.
Itzayena. Hola. Okay, thank you. All right, you guys. So good. I know it's awkward. It's hard to get to know each other on Zoom. It's much more fun in person. You know, it's the way it is. It's the way it is. Thank you for being such good sports. Let me go back. It's going to take me a little bit to digest what you all put on the slide. That slide is available to you. It's in our Google Drive. If anybody's having trouble accessing the Google Drive, then let me know. But I pulled out one question. What are the ways that researchers can contribute to their lab's goals remotely when they are not able to go into labs? That's a really good question, and they're figuring it out, but keep asking them that. All right, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to ask, why are you here? I don't expect you to answer. Don't worry, you don't have to unmute. But let's keep coming back to that, because I want you to see how your creativity, self-expression, and your values might be reflected in what you're doing in Shine. They might be developed while you're in Shine, but just because you resonate with your mentor or you just don't get your mentor at all of that is going to be a learning experience. So let's explore this a little bit more. Lukeman talks about how he picks the undergraduates whom he mentors in his lab. And he's looking for enthusiasm. What he calls interested is more important than having a great transcript. And so I told you on Monday that nobody was chosen by accident. Some of you have amazing transcripts. Some of you, don't have amazing transcripts, but each of you has something that makes you interesting or interested, makes you enthusiastic. And I want you to consciously develop this enthusiasm and this sort of self-reflection over these next 7 weeks. And part of the way you're going to do it is you're going to see how other people do it too. So I've already told you that some of your homework is to talk to your mentor about his or her path, if you have a chance to talk to your PI about that. But your mentors are still in the middle of their path, right? They're still wondering, am I going to go into industry? Am I going to go into academia? Am I going to teach? Are there enough teaching jobs? So they're in the middle of it, whereas your PIs, especially somebody who's been a researcher for a long time, like Professor Roberts, Professor Materik, compared to a relatively new PI like Professor Nguyen, they're going to be at different stages. So the people who are going to be more in the cloud are the people who are your mentors. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to this. Okay. Now, just as you are understanding your mentor's path, I'm going to invite you to explore your own path. Now, I'm going to suggest that you write for 5 minutes a day about your reasons for research. I'm not going to grade this. I'm not going to collect it. If you don't do it, I won't know. Okay? But part of the reason you're here is to learn about yourselves. You're a researcher. You're studying yourself too. The writing is not about perfect. It's not about like at the end of these 7 weeks, you're going to have your personal statement written. Not at all. My guidance to you is to do free writing, meaning you don't think about it, you just write for 5 minutes, and you just explore, and you don't care if you didn't spell it right, and you don't care if it didn't punctuate correctly, and you don't care. Because writing is a means of discovery. It is a research tool, okay? It's not the end product. If you use it this way, it's a discovery tool, okay? When we get to week 6, we are going to be talking, well, even in week 5, we're going to be talking about your shine story and writing, and there will be eventually something that you turn in. These might be prompts that help you. I'm in Shine this summer. Here is how I find self-expression in research. This is what I bring to my research group. If you don't do this, no one's ever going to know. I hope you do it. Okay. Okay. So sort of sum up these past 2 days. Research is a business and a culture. It's got a lot of explicit rules, but it's got even more implicit rules or conventions. And I'm hoping that by understanding the hierarchy, understanding the motivations, the pressures to publish, and all of these things, that you have a better sense of some of the implicit rules. But you are a researcher, so look for them. And you are here because you're interesting. You're interested. I did this wrong. You're here because you're interested, but you're also interesting. Okay? All right. Now, here's where we're going next. So as we've been talking about, we would like you before Friday to open this folder. Okay, so this is in our Google Drive shared folder, and you will see folders by your professor's last name. When you click through this, you'll find your PI's name, and you can look in there. Now, how should you do this without going crazy? Okay, you're going to start looking at the publications, and you don't want to be scared. So remember, it's less scary if you know what to look for. And how many, here, I'm going to turn to gallery view for a sec, which means I have to stop sharing. How many of you even know have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz? If you have, put your hand up and give me, oh, I know. It's like such an old thing. So you don't, so half of you don't even know what the wizard behind the curtain is. All right. I could assign that as homework, but I won't. The wizard behind the curtain makes everything happy. So that's what that's a picture of. So to make it less scary, know what to look for. You already know what that is, right? Imrad. And get a hug. A hug, how can you hug? Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to introduce you to Imrad all over again, and I always like to start from articles that come from the New York Times or something. I don't know if any of you read this about a week ago, a little over a week, I guess almost 2 weeks ago, how to hug during a pandemic. And so like most New York Times articles, they are thought leaders too. They start with something that we can all relate to. They talked about some video that went viral, and then they back it up with evidence. So what I want you to learn here is that engineering and hugging are related. You might not have known that. How to find and follow the research behind everyday news, IMRAD, what to skip, what to look for, and the whole role of publications. So I pulled out a part of this article that goes into the evidence about why hugging is good for you. And part of the evidence is we have these brain pathways, but I want you to start noticing when engineering comes in. So this person is a social scientist, but it's computational. Okay, so I want you to notice that a lot of research is computational these days based on mathematical models. All right, so now if I click through on this, I'm gonna get to the original article about the mathematical models. What I'd like you to start noticing when research is theoretical versus experimental. Okay, if I click here, I open to this. So we already, I want you to think for a sec. You can unmute. I'm gonna ask you, you guys are getting bolder. How do you know that this is peer review? Somebody unmute and tell me.
Well, there's multiple authors like under it, so that could imply that it's peer reviewed.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee, but it's usually a really good sign. Anything
Correct me
else?
if I'm wrong, but doesn't the superscript A, B, C indicate like the phase of peer review? Or am I don't
You mean
remember.
under their name, like it says Wenzhou Chen, and then it?
Yeah, there's an A.
Yeah.
And then
So
B,
yeah,
and
if
then
we,
C.
it doesn't talk about the point of peer review, but if you clicked on this, if I clicked on show more, I would get what universities they're at, and
Okay.
that's really a dead giveaway. Okay, good, Asa. Okay.
Also the MRAD on the left-hand side.
There you go, Nikitas. Good. Okay, all of these plus you can tell it's from some publication. It has a little picture of the publication. You get to know some of these names. Elsevier is a congregator. It congregates peer-reviewed literature. And so very good. You guys are doing great. Now, this is what I see when I click here. But if I click on Get Access, let me see if my next slide. What else? I'm going to get to the Get Access. It's a boring but descriptive title. Okay, look for those boring titles. That's a dead giveaway too. All right, it's not like how to hug in a pandemic. Okay. Now, if I clicked on Get Access, it tells me I can get it through my institutional access. And so this is something that we're going to talk about when we meet with the librarians, or I could buy it for $35.95. And that also tells you it's peer review. Never purchase, at least while you're in Shine, never purchase these things. Okay, don't ever think that you need to purchase these things. Your affiliation with USC gives you access to these things. Okay, all right. All right. So, right, we got IMRAD. What do you skip? Don't read over here. What do you skip? Who can tell me what you skip? What I've taught you to skip? It's your birthday. Do you remember what I told you to skip?
Yeah. So you told us to skip like the process portion, like the actual experiment, and you told us to read the introduction.
Yep.
And the ending results.
Yep. And the abstract too, in case. So yeah, skip methods and results for now. Okay. When you get a PhD, you can really understand that stuff. Okay. But not in these 7 weeks. Now your mentor may walk you through methods and may say, look, this is what we're using electrophoresis here. And you can see in the methods, they talk about electrophoresis. But seriously, if you don't want that scary demon eyes looking at you when you're doing this, like poor Marcus had to go through, skip that stuff. Okay. Recognize the long, boring titles. And we start learning about the importance of the authors in the order that they're in. Usually it's the senior author, the PI at the end. And usually it's the junior people in the front. It's not always that way. Okay. IMRAD. And in many of these articles that you could click and go right, you could, like, if you clicked here, you could go right to the intro and skip and read the abstract. But look, this is the link I got to from the New York Times article. There's no abstract. So I want to show you that there's a difference when you actually can access the article rather than just the hyperlink to the article. So that when you are reading something, say in the New York Times, and it looks interesting and you click through, you may get the article that is in front of the firewall, in front of the paywall. When you're at a university, your university purchases, licenses, access to these articles, and so you get them for free, and you see something different. So here you can see the abstract, whereas here you don't necessarily. All right? And this is where you start seeing IMRAD. Okay? Now, I created a copy of the abstract here. And another thing that I want you to look for is the stuff that goes all the way back to what Dean Yortzos was talking about, that we are always looking at the impact of our results, and we're looking to see where is there a gap. Research always builds off of previous research. It always is trying to answer a question that the last research project couldn't answer. All right? So the wizard behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz is the person who, well, I won't say. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But look for what they're telling you why it's important. Okay? I don't know if you could read this. Give it a try. What should you skip over in this abstract?
Well, I think in an abstract, they still add the methods part. It's just like condensed. So skip that and probably some of the results.
That's right. I don't care if you understand that the large droplet root went from 100 micromil, I'm not even sure what that is. Okay? Just skip that stuff. All right? What's most important is that something is unexplored. What's unexplored? The mechanism of exposure. Okay? So this is
Dr. Mills.
Yeah.
I think Joseph was waiting to be let in.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's let him in. Oh, and Ruth too. hey, you guys, I can't see the chat when I'm sharing my slides. So thank you for speaking up. I value people who are looking out for everybody in the group. So thank you so much. Sorry, you guys. Right? Let's see. Maddie and Asa. Maddie, you want to, because we've heard from Asa, what are you studying in your aerospace lab? And what does it have to do with this?
At least for me, I'm looking at how particles are going to be flowing through PPE. So like when you cough or sneeze into a mask, if the particles are going to travel out and how do they travel, so that way we can learn how it might go on to another person and spread the disease.
So very similar to what they're trying to study. There's a lot of different ways to study it. So Maddie, if you can, and Asa, feel free to join in. What in the heck does COVID have to do with aerospace? Why in the world are you studying COVID when you should be studying airplanes?
Well, aerospace doesn't necessarily have to deal with planes and rockets. It's just looking how items flow through either air, sometimes water. And with COVID, it's a disease, and sometimes it can be particles of the disease. So basically, looking at how the particles are moving through the air is part of aerospace and aerospace engineering.
And also, like, sorry.
Go. Awesome.
Oh, sorry. Also, I was just gonna say that like a lot of the same hardware, there's overlaps. Like I'm working on a low-cost spirometer, which measures differential like air pressure. So, although that is relevant now for COVID, similar devices are also relevant in a bunch of other fields.
Okay, great. So there's a lot that you can learn if you know what to look for and know what to skip, okay? I think you guys get it by now. Thank you, Maddie and Asa, for being put on the spot like that, okay? Now, they do talk about a mathematical model, and I will say that aerospace is the field that you guys are all going to start learning MATLAB. I think Maddie, Maddie, did you start looking at MATLAB last night? Yes, you did. I know you did. So I'm going to also start talking about how are you guys going to start learning how to do some of these mathematical models, okay? But just start noticing how they are doing their methods, even though you don't have to understand about these things. Okay, so what is mathematical modeling, and how are you going to learn it? So as I say, most high schools just don't teach about it, but over half of you are going to be taking MATLAB this next week if you haven't already started. Okay, so if you don't know what a mathematical model is and you wanted to find out, one, you might just Google it and you might go to Wikipedia. And what I want you to notice about here is not the definition, but the fact that Wikipedia is saying that this article needs more citations. All right, it's not peer reviewed. All right, so again, part of this is helping you understand the value of peer review and why it is so important to engineering a better society, or whatever you want to say is the biggest value of scientific collaboration. It is we have checks and balances on the results. Especially, you can see this every day. If you look at the New York Times like I do every day, like COVID, everybody's rushing to find an answer to COVID. And we're rushing so much, we're not always doing good enough peer review. So it turns out that, say, President Trump was taking hydroquinone when it turns out it's not a benefit to COVID, and it could actually have heart problems. So what I said on Monday, that this is a sad time that you're not in the labs and you're not on campus because you're not getting to see the pipettes and see the supercomputers and stuff like that. But on the other hand, everything you're learning is of daily relevance to what we're going through right now. Okay. So MathWorks is the company that creates MATLAB, which is sort of, I'm going to call it a coding platform, but Kendall, feel free to unmute and correct me. So a good number of your mentors have told us that they want you to learn MATLAB. Anybody is welcome to take it, even if your mentor didn't say that you needed it. And what we're going to do on Monday is not only is Kendall going to give you a little introduction and but like how he uses MATLAB and what kind of classes he's taken in MATLAB, but then he's going to get you to click here and take the online training. Anybody can take this training. You don't have to wait till Monday. And what we're going to encourage you to do is take it together, meaning you can all Zoom together and go through it at your own pace, but then you have company and you get to know each other. Anybody who completes it will get a certificate, and you can put that certificate on your resume, on your LinkedIn page and stuff. Okay. So Monday we're going to kick off at 1 p.m. and then Kendall's going to have open office hours on Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 11 on this Zoom channel. So if you like, I don't get it or anything like that, you can always ask him in a safe space. Okay. Now, there are going to be a number of tutorials that your mentors, some of your mentors are going to ask you to take. And we just have it here, like, so I already mentioned that over half of you are taking this Workforce Ready. And when I checked in when I had office hours on yesterday and people just we just chatted, everybody who was doing Workforce Ready found it pretty valuable. As you can see, over half of you are going to be asked to take MATLAB. For the more
Dr. Mills,
people,
someone's in the waiting room.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much,
Sorry for the interruption.
Jacob. No problem. I don't mind being interrupted at all. I don't want. Catalina, I'm also.
You can make me co-host.
Yeah,
so
I should have done that. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, you guys, we're almost done. Excel is more than just a spreadsheet. It can be used, you can do data visualization. So I'm going to come back to MATLAB. Python as a programming language. So how are you guys going to, and accessing the USC server, some of you, especially in aerospace, they're going to ask you to VPN in. I'm not going to dwell on this stuff. If you need to know this stuff, your mentor's going to tell you. Okay, a little bit more about MATLAB. I took this from the website. The purpose of MATLAB is you can analyze data, develop algorithms, and create mathematical models. It's free. Not everything on the main web page here is free, so don't freak out if you go here first and it looks like you have to buy something. You don't have to buy anything, okay? You can see that it's going to be mostly electrical and material science, civil and aerospace. Robotics, you don't need it very much, okay? So if you have any questions and your mentor hasn't told you and you can't ask your mentor, ask us. As I said, MATLAB has a lot of other products. Many of them cost a lot of money, but there's other things that are free in case you are really curious about all the things you can learn. Each one you complete, you get a certificate. Same with the other, when you are asked to go through the Excel or the Python tutorials, now we've identified tutorials on LinkedIn Learning that are good. But we just realized this week that if you are under 16, you can't access, you can't get a LinkedIn account. So we have plan B for all of you who aren't 16. All right, so we will reach out to you. We will figure this out. We've been talking to your mentors about this, so don't worry about it. If you are 16 or you're going to be 16 today or this weekend or next week or during, you know, whenever you turn 16, you are able to create a LinkedIn account. I'm going to recommend that you make a LinkedIn account. That way you and we're working right now on creating a Shine LinkedIn account. If you make it a LinkedIn account, you could link in with me. You can put your certificates here. You could talk about your Shine project here. It's, you know, it's kind of like your professional Facebook. You don't have to. It's not a requirement if you don't want to do it. Now, many academics don't use LinkedIn. So you could look up your PI and he or she probably won't be there. Check it out. But you can put your certificates on here. You can stay in touch with us this way. So if you are being told to go to LinkedIn Learning, then right now you could access a free linked learning account for a month. We can help you do this, but that's how some of you are going to learn Excel and Python. Some of you are also going to learn Unity. So we've been working behind the scenes with your mentors about how to, so that everybody is learning kind of the same thing. And if you can learn it together, that's awesome.
Katie, can I jump in really quick about LinkedIn?
Yes, please.
Folks in academia, like professors, may not use it, but students do tend to use it because a lot of companies will post jobs, including internships, through LinkedIn. So that's something to consider when you are in college.
Yep, or before college, because some of you will get internships before you get to college. Maybe. Okay, right? So you're familiar with this continuum. The more you are towards this end, the more you rely on experimental work or what you might call wet labs or bench work. The more you are down here, it's more computational, so you can understand why electrical and materials is more on the MATLAB side. Okay. All right, so I'm giving you your first pop quiz. Now Yuban already told us the answer to this, so don't look at Yuban, okay? Just because she knows the answer and it's her birthday, it doesn't matter. What should you skip? All right, you guys can just mental it. Put it in your head. All right. Yeah, skip pages like this. This is from that COVID sneezing article. Like, they got cool pictures. I really like this picture, the way the sneeze goes and how they measure all of this stuff, but just skip this stuff, okay? All right, so we're winding up. So I do want you to speak with your mentor. I would like you to find out their research pathway. They may not be able to tell you everything all at once, so don't worry. It's gonna reveal itself week after week. Stay attentive. I suggest that you keep a lab notebook where you mark down what's explicit, what's implicit, that you write down your questions so that you remember to ask them either of your mentor or of me or your center mentor. But if your Shine mentor has not yet talked about what are the social benefits of the research group, then do ask, all right? Because I would like you by next week to be able to say, what's the way that the research you're doing has a social benefit, okay? Just a simple sentence. You don't have to tell me what microns of particles or anything like that. You just have to say, we are attempting to understand how drugs interact in atherosclerosis, heart disease, okay? Okay, if you are a first-generation college student, I would like you to please Slack Ashley. She's first gen, several of people are first gen who are in center mentors. And she's going to be working with you, especially because there's so many implicit parts to applying for college that if your parents didn't go to college, you may not be aware of all of the implicit stuff. So we want to make that explicit to you. So please Slack Ashley. She's out today. So Slack her today, but she may not get back to you. Now, it's 4 minutes before 11. I want to give you all a chance in these last 4 minutes. Does anybody want to ask me a question? Question about anything?
I just wanted to ask, will our mentors be telling us what, like what workshops we need to do, like MATLAB or stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
They will.
Also, if you're not first gen, but you still want to like get some information, would that be open to other people, or is it only just for people with first gen?
We value inclusivity and diversity here. So yeah, I think that's fine.
I have a question about like the mentors. So what would be the difference between like what questions you ask your shine mentor and what questions you ask your center mentor?
You know, I don't know, to tell you the truth. I mean, if you're scared, you can ask your center mentor, but your center mentor may not be able, like Paula is a games major, so Paula can't answer questions about something with biomed. Try both. Don't be scared. You guys can't mess up unless you blow up the lab, which you can't go into, unless you stop coming to, nothing is horrible. Certainly, you want to ask your shine mentor any questions about methods, why you're doing what you're doing, all of that stuff. Center mentors, we also call, they're closer in age to you, so they can really help you understand the college process, all of that kind of stuff. But Rachel, it's a great question and one I can't even fully answer. Okay, 2 more minutes. Any more questions? All right. You guys are doing great. So listen, I hope that you're meeting with here, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to look at you. Who's meeting with their PIs or their mentors this afternoon? Keep your hands up. So I have to scroll. Okay, good. All right. So your homework, you already know, is all this touchy-feely stuff, but also do go into our shared Google Drive, crack open that folder that has your professors by their last name, start taking a look. Definitely, Rachel, to answer your question, you definitely want to ask your mentor, what do you want me to understand or know from my scholarly reading? Now, don't think that you have to read everything by Friday or anything like that. I really just want you to start looking at it. Look for IMRAD, look at the authors. Is your PI's name there? Is your mentor's name? Or maybe it's neither one of them. Maybe it is the PI that your PI had, right? These become kind of legacies of scholarship. So just look and ask questions of your mentors. Okay, you guys are great. I hope some of you come to my office hours tomorrow at 1 o'clock, this same URL. And on Friday, we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna have Dr. Cho come and talk about his research path. Okay, I'll hang out a little bit, but go eat lunch, have fun. I'll see you later. Thanks.